This week on The Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Camera, and you know what you said? They would have to pay me more money for that.
Shemea.
Why can't we be that way?
Why are you trying to argue with me for the show?
Why can't we be how we are off camera on camera?
Let's not do this. We don't have to.
Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 11. Let's get right into it. Okay, so the opening scene is Charles and Angela. They go to a restaurant at a rooftop. Charles is a retired NBA player. As we all know, he also owns car washes in New York, and he is a basketball coach currently. So they're kind of talking about some of the stuff that he's got going on. Angela and him did kind of have a little back and forth about some topic, and she claims that's their love language, but Charles seems mad because she even asks like for a kiss, and he's like, why do you want a kiss? And they did a confessional together where the producer who asks the questions asks Charles, do you love Angela? And he didn't answer. I mean, what kind of husbands are these ladies getting? Like, where are y'all getting some of these men? I don't know what's up with some of these women being with men who don't want to show them that they love them. I mean, it's kind of weird to me. Anyway, Angela says that she has to also talk to her sister because remember, her sister and Angela's daughter got into it. Angela says that she's helped her sister and other family members a lot financially, so she doesn't like that this is the way that they're repaying her. Charles is like, well, that's why you got to stop and not keep on giving them. And I do agree with him on that, because when you start to give somebody money, they're going to become dependent on you real quick. And the moment you stop, it's going to be an issue. Like, they're never going to want it to stop. So he is right about that. But to be honest, Angela's family kind of sounds a little problematic to me. And I hate to say that, but even the daughter sounds problematic. Because why was she fighting with her aunt over a car for her to use a car in the first place? And why didn't she tell her mother, Angela, that she was married? There's a lot going on over there, and I don't get it. Next up, Cynthia and Shemea meet up. They talk about what happened yesterday, and that was Porsha's pampered event that we saw last week. So this is the day after. Shemea is very upset over her and Porsha essentially fighting in front of everyone. She says that it's crazy because even before she got to the place, she had actually just texted her mom telling her that she already kind of felt sad and a little uneasy even before going there. So the fact that happened, it was just kind of a lot. So Cynthia is trying to figure out, how did this start? Like, what's going on? So Shemea says that the conversations that she had with some of the other ladies were taken the wrong way. She says that the way that they were brought back to Porsha was very different than how she actually said it. Shemea says a lot of the women have actually been the ones who have kind of thrown some seeds of doubt in the friendship. Like, they've been the ones to bring up to Shemea things like, oh, maybe Porsha isn't as loyal to you, or maybe Porsha was being mean to you when she was kind of being shady when you were sharing your song, things like that. And Shemea says that she tries to ignore it and not take the bait. She's actually made an effort not to do that. Cynthia then says that she had the same issue with one of the ladies that used to be in the group that she had a falling out with, and she sees a lot of similarities. And honestly, you guys, I thought she was talking about Kenya, but she flat out says, this is what happened with me and Nene. She says that it was hard for her to have conversations with Nene about the fact that their friendship was kind of falling apart, and they would go to group settings, and it was awkward. It felt very weird because they were good friends. I mean, they would be on the phone for hours, and then all of a sudden they weren't. So Shemea says to Cynthia that there are a lot of other components to all this drama as well, because Porsha even told Shemea that her mom didn't know how to accept her because of the hostility between the parents. So, because, Miss Diane always tells Porsha, don't trust Shemea, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So Diane is saying this to Porsha, but then Porsha is saying this to Shamea. Like, she's like, this is what my mom is saying about True. And I mean, we've definitely seen Diane say this on camera, so I can imagine she says much more off. So, Shamea, in her confessional, starts to tell us a little bit about the story between her mom and Porsha's mom. So they met a long time ago, like years ago, when Porsha and Shamea were little girls. And they became friends. The moms did, but they had a falling out. And the producers, they try to get Shamea to tell us why they had a falling out, but Shamea didn't answer, which makes me wonder, why did Porsha go off on Instagram yesterday about? Did anyone else see this? She posted, I guess she must have seen the episode yesterday because they get to see it before us, and Porsha went off like, you're talking about my mom Shamea, and I don't get it. Nothing bad was said. Also, let me just say this. So that was it for the scene, but I gotta say this. The fact that for the first time since her departure, Nene Leakes was mentioned on the show lets me know that Nene will definitely be back. Trust me, I think that in a couple of years, we're going to be seeing Nene back on Bravo or NBC or something like that. So then we see a few little scenes of different things that are going on. Shemea is getting ready to release her single. Kelli is at her restaurant. And Britt and Mike are getting ready to go to a wedding. In the next scene, Porsha, Cynthia, and Angela go to a bowling alley. I love bowling with my friends. It's fun. Porsha, she can't stop twerking. Angela, she's trying to do it. The bowling's not that good at it, but then they just kind of talk. Cynthia asks Porsha how is her daughter doing with all these big changes that are happening, and Porsha says that there's a lot of changes happening because not only is she getting a divorce, but Porsha's also been working a lot, so she hasn't been spending as much time in the home. She says that the other day her daughter asked her, "Where is Papa?" Porsha said to her, well, he's working. But then the Pilar says, well, he's been working for too long. So Porsha gets emotional. I do wonder, like, what was the dynamic, like, with that? Like, did Pilar actually see Simon as her, like, father figure? Because she has a dad that, like, is in her life. So, and it has been, I think, 2 years that they were that Porsha and Simon were together. So I don't know. Porsha says that because she's going through her divorce and just going through so much, she doesn't really want to deal with all the drama with Shamea. She says that maybe because I'm going through so much, I'm not being the best friend that I can be, but, I don't want to, like, fight with Shamea. And I just thought, okay, we can't blame our behaviors a lot. I mean, sometimes it is understandable. Like, yes, sometimes when you're going through life-changing events, that could definitely change the way you are a friend. But some of Shemea's complaints happened before this divorce, Porsha, so we can't use that as as an excuse. All right, next up we see Drew. She FaceTimes her mom. I think her mom had her later in life because she says that her mom is in her 80s. So Drew is updating her on the case with Ralph. Ralph hasn't turned in his financials, and he wants 40% of Drew Sidora LLC, and he wants 40% of some new entity that she has. So her and her lawyers are trying to stop that. But this is where I'm confused because Drew says that Ralph does very well on his own. Like, he has good money. Like, he doesn't need her money. But I feel like there's definitely sort of been a narrative that he's broke. So those two things kind of don't make sense together. Drew also says that Ralph locked her out of the house because he changed the code and didn't tell her. They are so toxic and draining. I can't even imagine, them too. Next up, Angela's mom goes over to Angela's house. Angela has taken care of her mom. She even bought her house in Atlanta. But here in this scene, her mom is talking about the fact that she's moved into a new home. So she's moving out of the home that Angela bought for her. And Angela's asking, like, why? And the mom claims that she wants to move out because she wants to be more self-reliant. Angela is, she's in the one hand glad that she won't have to be taking care of her anymore. But in the other hand, she kind of wants to take care of her. And I understand why she feels like that. So then Angela brings up the drama with her sister and her daughter Amari. Angela and her sister don't talk, and the mom is kind of the one in the middle, so they kind of talk about that. And her mom also doesn't currently talk to Charles because she stood up to him once, but she says that she does maybe want to like write him a letter so they can, get better. And she even jokes that her and Charles are almost the same age. Which, by the way, though, it's kind of sad because this was filmed a while ago. In the present, Angela's mom did pass away, which is, I'm sure, super sad for Angela. So my condolences to Angela's mom. To Angela, because her mom has passed. All right, moving on. Kelli is teaching her daughter Chloe how to drive, and oh my gosh, Kelli was stressed. I'm gonna be honest. You know how like sometimes when you go to bed, you think of the most random things. I always think about the fact that one day I'm gonna have to teach my kids how to drive, and I am not looking forward to that. I barely like to drive myself, let alone have to teach someone who's never driven. I can't. I don't even want to think about it. Anyway, Chloe wants a new car, maybe a Jeep, and maybe she'll get it soon because Kelli is working on her new location for Nana's Chicken and Waffles. It's a lot of work, and she says that it's been very expensive, but hopefully the new location is super successful. She says that they're actually getting ready to do the hiring. They're getting ready to hire some people for the new location. So I really do like Kelli, and I hope that, again, this restaurant will be successful because she has 4 daughters, and with this crazy man that she's divorcing, I wish her the best. The next scene is Drew and her mom, but this time her mom's in the house. So her mom's a pastor. She believes in the power of prayer, and she's very supportive of Drew, and I love that for her. I wish she could tell her daughter to stop lying so much, but she is a good support system for Drew. Her mom is telling her that if Ralph had any love for Drew as the mother of his kids, he wouldn't want all this whole process to be this tumultuous. Which, to be fair though, that could be said about Drew as well, because I do want to just point out that Drew has been giving her side on the show, but Ralph has also been giving his side on social media. Who is lying? Who is telling the truth? I don't know. Drew's mom begins to tell her that the kids are out of control, Drew's kids, and that might be because of Ralph and Drew's separation. Her mom says to her, like, she's had to yell at them a lot because they just won't listen. So Drew cries and says, I didn't even, realize that my kids are not the same. It was emotional, and I do think that was a very real scene, and I'm glad that Drew's mom said that to her. She didn't say it in a judgmental way or like in a putting Drew down way, but she said it in like in a way that a grandmother should tell her daughter. If the kids are acting out, then she's got to tell her. And I really appreciated that scene because I feel like in today's day and age, all these kids are out of control and a lot of parents don't want to say nothing to them. So I like the fact that Drew's mom she brought that up because that's important. And I totally understand it because the vibes and the energy in that house are probably not the best. So of course it's going to affect the kids somehow. It was really nice to see Drew and her mom together, I will say that. Alright, so moving right along to the final scene of the episode, it's the sit down between Shemea and Porsha. And let me say, one of the things that I think have made Housewives in general great was like the old school, iconic one-on-one sit downs. So I thought that's what we were going to have, but we kind of didn't. So let's talk and see what happens. So I always try to be fair though. So when Shemea came in, she did have a little bit of an attitude when she sat down. So she sits down, and the first thing she says to Porsha is, "So what's going on with you?" And Porsha's like, "Nothing much." And Shemea says, "Well, you had your event. That was a big deal." So Porsha's like, "Let's just talk about our issues." So then that's when Shemea kind of starts to sound more sincere and genuine. So she says, "First of all, let me just apologize for maybe not being as open about my feelings about our friendship over the years. I do try to handle our friendship with care. I didn't like for our issues to come out in the group." And Porsha says, "Well, some of the things that were brought up are things that we had already discussed in the past." Shemea says, yeah, but the difference between you and I is that when you do your little petty stuff, like cut me off, post shady things, talk down about my music, I don't go crazy right then and there. But it is dismissive, and I do feel hurt. Like, it's hurtful. So I would like that moving forward, and then that's when Porsha's like, and Shemea's like, are you tired? Am I boring you? Like, what? And Porsha's like, I'm just taking a breath because this conversation is a little uncomfortable. Shemea's like, it's uncomfortable. Like, I'm here to try and salvage our friendship. And Porsha's like, possibly? And Shemea's like, no, I do want to salvage it, but you are dismissive. Like, you're dismissing my feelings. Like, if I did that non-verbal dismissive communication, like, you would probably feel the same way. Also, you want to know what's hurtful? When you come to me and tell me that your mom told you to be careful with me, that's hurtful. Do you know how that makes me feel? And Porsha wasn't really saying much. It was just Shamea kind of talking about the things that bother her. Porsha just kept on saying, I'm not going to argue with you. I don't want to argue with you. Shamea then throws a huge bomb to us. She breaks the fourth wall and she says, Porsha, you said to me the other day that you wish that we could be on camera the same way that we are off camera, but you said that you wouldn't do that unless they paid you more. So Shamea's point is, like, let's be how we are off camera in real life. Let's translate that on camera, but like, don't put a price tag on it. Like, let's just be genuine. And then Porsha's like, oh, this is scary. Like, are you doing this for the show? This is a lot, Shamea. Stop. Porsha then gets up to use the restroom for a second. The food had just arrived, and then when Porsha comes back, she asks the waiter if they can get a to-go box. It was kind of awkward. And Shamea says, well, I hate that you didn't finish your food and that we weren't able to resolve anything. And then Porsha's like, oh, well, you weren't talking anymore, so I thought we were done. And Shamea's like, yeah, I wasn't saying anything because you just said to me, Shamea, stop. And I don't know what I did to you. Like, that's why I'm trying to ask you. I can't read your mind. Then Porsha says to her, I'm just human. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm overwhelmed. Now, come on, Porsha. You are not in a Lifetime original movie. Stop with the acting, okay? Shamea says, I get that. That's why I never wanted to bring up drama, but I want to be able to tell you things without being dismissed. Porsha says, so tell me, what can I do? Shamea says, well, if I'm pouring out my heart to you, like, don't tell me to stop. I want you to hear me out and feel like you actually care. And Porsha says, okay, yeah, check, I'll do it. I don't want to break up with you. I'm sorry. She, like, was pretending to cry. She was like, I don't want to break up with you, Shamea. Didn't see a single tear, but they have a hug. They share a hug, and Porsha says, I love you. We'll move forward. In my opinion, Porsha didn't mean any of that. Okay, I think she was trying to shut Shamea up. That's what that was. But that was the end of the episode. This last scene was so, I don't even know how to explain. It was just so, I think that Shamea came in with genuine feelings. Porsha didn't want to hear it. She didn't actually want to hear Shamea out. And maybe that's because maybe that's because Porsha isn't used to Shamea expressing her feelings. Maybe she's used to Shamea kind of just sucking it up. And because Shamea is finally speaking up for herself, Porsha doesn't like it. And, last week I was really on Shamea's side for a lot of this issue because I know what it's like to be in a friendship where, you're so grateful to have these friends and you love the friendship that you have with them. But, like, when things come up, you almost don't even want to say anything because you don't want the friendship to end, or you're just so grateful for the friendship, things like that. So I know what that's like because I've been like that in the past. But I think that, like, we're grown. Shamea, you're grown. Porsha, we're grown. Like, you should be able to talk about your feelings. And I also feel like Shamea's been messy in the past. So I don't know, you guys. I want to hear from y'all. What are y'all thinking about this? I definitely think Porsha was being very disingenuous at this lunch, but whose side are y'all on? Let me know your thoughts, you guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll catch y'all next week because the one and only Phaedra Parks is going to be back. I'm so excited for that. So, you guys, I'll catch y'all next time. Y'all let me know. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Until the next one, y'all have a great one. Bye.